For many years of my life, I identified as the nice girl, the girl who didn't know how to say no, the girl who avoided conflict at all cost, the girl who was always available so that people would call her a reliable friend. Thoughts of anyone being displeased with me were too scary. I needed everyone's perception of me to be good at all times. Little did I know that I had grown into a people pleaser. And I lost parts of myself trying to conform to everyone's perception and expectation of me. Then I made a decision to stop being the nice girl.
My next girl problem. It probably started when I was a little child. Okay, when I was a little girl, I was born into like this average home. We're not poor, but like just enough. Okay, and I thank God for keeping us. But that's the kind of family I was born into. This is obviously not a generalized, it's not a general statement of fact. But I think that when you're born into a rich home or you're born into wealth in general, you're born into a life of options. And this is just based on personal experience. If you go for a birthday party as a young girl from an average home and everything, your parents have made you look your best just so that you don't look like where you're coming from, you don't look like the trenches, okay? And I've noticed that rich kids are the ones that are more adventurous. They're the ones that are not like conforming as much. They're like they don't have any problem with saying, oh, I don't want this, I don't want to eat that. Mommy, I want to go on the bicycle. So mommy, I want to go swim. Mommy, I want to do this and that. They can come back and say, oh, mommy, I lost my earring and stuff. But you you know that if you misplace your shoe, there's not that one. So there's just this way that you've been programmed to act, because you don't want to embarrass your parents, you don't want to look like, oh, the girl that doesn't have money, you don't want to look like where you're coming from, and so your parents want you to put your best foot forward at all times, and that kind of low-key beats into you perfectionism and conformity. You just always have to conform to what people expect you to be, how people expect you to behave and stuff like that. And like I said, some rich people, some rich kids actually grew up on this same side of the coin. Just because they are rich, people expect a certain thing from them, and their parents make them act in certain ways to please these people. But for me, that's where the entire thing started. And even when I grew into like a teenager and I was growing into this beautiful girl, duh. But I was growing into this beautiful girl, and I think I was fitting so much into the societal standards of beauty. And because there's already like the societal expectation of what fine girls look like, people don't expect you to be smart. People expect you to be snobbish, mean, rude, all those things. In a bit to change your mind about me and prove to you that I'm not the stereotype, I'm not the way you think. I want to put my best foot forward. I want to be nice to you. Okay. And that really led me into people pleasing. And this was one of the hardest things I had to admit about myself. That I was a people pleaser. I would do things just so that people are okay, just so that people are happy with me, just so that their perception of me is good. I didn't want anyone to meet me and say, ah, the first time I met Doreen, she was this, she was that. I wanted people to meet me for the first time and be like, oh my god, I met Doreen, she's such a nice girl, she's so sweet, she's so this. Like, I just wanted people to think I was a nice person. I wanted people to their perception of me to be good at all times. And that involved me doing things that I probably didn't even want to do just because I wanted someone to be okay. Fast forward to 2020, I realized that I actually had boundary problems. I didn't know how to say no, that's first. Secondly, I didn't know how to stand for things that I actually didn't like and just tell people I don't like this. I used to avoid conflict so much that I'd rather just not speak my mind because I don't want fights. I don't want wahala. So I'd avoid conflict. Okay. And once you are always avoiding conflict, you're definitely going to be a people pleaser. Definitely. And I have like two examples at the top of my head. When I stopped liking makeup as much as I used to, right? I don't know if I've shared the story here before, but when I stopped liking makeup as much as I used to, I remember my friends would still be like, "Oh, Doreen, please, can you do my makeup for me?" Because they were used to me always doing it. But at this time, I didn't like it like that anymore. But I couldn't say no because so I'll do it even though in my heart of hearts, I'll be angry. I'll be my chest will be paining me. Like, oh, as I'm drawing the eyebrow, as I'm lining the lips, I'll be angry. My chest will be paining me, but I'll do it regardless because I just didn't know how to say no to people. I just didn't know how to hurt people's feelings. I just didn't know how to have uncomfortable conversation. I just do you understand? Eventually I had to learn how to say no to those things. But for a very long time, I did it even when I didn't feel like it. Okay. There's also this time before 2020, I had this roommate that lacked boundaries. She used to bring her friends into the room. There'll be so many, they'll make noise, they'll put dirt everywhere. Bruh. The first time it happened, I was like, Second time, third time, and that's how I just let it keep going on. And because I didn't want to ruin the perception they had of me, like, oh, I didn't want it to look like this person's roommate has wahala or something. And they used to say, oh, your roommate is so nice and sweet, such a sweet girl. I didn't want to ruin that perception they had of me, so I had to keep I almost said I had to keep being agreeable to please them. Okay. I had to keep conforming to what they expected of me because I was a sweet and nice roommate. And sometimes I'll be fuming. Guys, I'll be raging because they're making noise. I'm trying to study, or I come back and the room is scattered, or there are so many. I'm telling you guys, like, there'll be so many, as many as 7, 6 people. Sometimes they'll stay over. I'll be so upset. I'll go to my friend's room. Don't have sense. I'll go to my friend's room. I'll be shouting. Why can't she do this? Why would she do this? Why would she do that? Why should do? When I go to the room, I'll just be like, I won't say anything. Guys, to the point that sometimes I'll be trying to study and they're making noise, but I couldn't even bring myself to say, please, can you keep it down? I'm trying to read. I'd rather leave just so that I don't make them uncomfortable, just so that they don't think that I'm angry, just so that they don't think that I'm rude or I'm mean or I'm not nice. So I'll just keep playing the nice girl, nice girl, nice girl thing. I want them to think I'm nice. I won't want their perception of me to ever shift. And I suffered because it's not about human beings, is that if you give them allow, to take allowance always. And sometimes people are not even doing that on purpose. Okay, there are some people that always exploit people and always take advantage, but generally I think humans will just always do things if you allow them to. If you don't say don't cross this line, they'll keep crossing. And that's just because you've given them the freedom to do it. If you keep letting someone do something to you, they're always going to keep doing it. And when you now, like, I went and got like up to, and it was a very terrible experience. But then in 2020, like I said, I read a book called Boundaries, right? I've talked about boundaries so many times on this channel. Okay, maybe not so many times, but I've talked about it quite a few times. And I read the e-copy back then, and I was like, so it's me that's the problem. Oh my gosh. Because all the while I used to think that everybody else was the problem. I used to always complain about how people were taking advantage of me being nice. And I didn't know that it was me being nice that was actually the issue, because I just didn't know how to say no. I didn't know how to set boundaries and stick to them. And that was my problem. It had nothing to do with other people. They were being themselves, and I was allowing them be themselves instead of me to draw a line and say, hey, don't pass it. Don't pass this mark, don't pass it. But I was allowing them to do anything that they wanted, and it was my problem. And it even used to translate to being nice to guys. This one, so many girls on this table, but wait, come, sis, I want to liberate you today. You don't have to be the nice girl to a guy. And let me give you a bit of context, okay? A guy will tell me, I have feelings for you, I have feelings for you. Instead of me to say, ta, get out. I'll not be like, hey, I don't want you to look as if I'm wicked. Hey, I don't want to look as if I'm not nice. I don't want them to feel bad. I want to pamper their feelings. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't know. I just don't want to hurt their feelings. I just don't want them to ever see me in a negative light. I don't want them to ever see me as someone who rejected them. Okay. So I'll be having mental gymnastics. I'll be thinking, hey, how will I say no to this person? Hey, I will be sometimes me that be writing epistle to say no to somebody just because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I will now be pampering it. I may not even actually say no. I will just try to make it in such a way that I don't want, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings. I don't want this person to not be okay with me. I want us to be on good terms. I don't want us to disagree. So I will just pamper it, and package it just so that it doesn't seem bad. Oh, sorry. And sometimes it was even a situation of certain people that just didn't know how to speak, or they used to be mean to me, they used to be rude to me, they used to make jokes that I was uncomfortable with. But because I didn't want to seem like not nice, or I didn't want us to disagree, I'll just be there laughing, all those uncomfortable laughters, or last, I'll excuse them and leave the room. But I wouldn't say no. I don't think you should say that to me. I don't agree with this. You can't call me that. I wouldn't say anything. I'll just it's a no guys. See, if you're on this table, you need to calm down ASAP. Don't do it. Don't show you Pepe. Don't show you Pepe in this light. Don't do it yourself, okay? And obviously, when I found out that I was this kind of way, I had to start working on changing it. And that was when like my self-awareness journey really started in 2020. I started to learn about why is it so hard for you to say no, and I started to practice it a lot more. Because the thing is, when you have a boundary problem, you don't know how to say no to people. You always want everybody to be okay. You want everyone to be pleased with you. You want to always seem like the reliable friend, the reliable person. You don't want anybody to think that you're. First off, you will carry so many responsibilities that are not meant for you, because everybody will say, can you help me? Yes. Can you help me? Yes. Even when in your heart, you're angry, you don't want to do it. You know that you probably shouldn't be doing it. And all these things, they may not necessarily be bad stuff. They may even be things that you can do. Then can you help me? Yes. Then can you help me do? You think about it. Sometimes you even just say, okay, no problem. Never really expressing how you truly feel. And this is not even me trying to take away the fact that sacrifice and compromise is necessary in relationships, friendships, and just generally. It's just that when you do something, when you sacrifice something out of love, okay, when you love someone and you sacrifice or you compromise, you are not resentful while you're doing it. It is flowing from a place of love, not fear of what they'll say if you say no, not resentment, not I just don't want them to think I'm nice. I just don't want them to think I'm wicked. I just don't want them to think I'm mean. And guys, there's a big difference between being nice and being kind. And that is what I didn't know. There was a difference between being nice and being kind. Kindness is a fruit of the spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. If you don't know, it's going to read your Bible. Okay. But being nice is different. You can be nice and not be kind. I literally had to research this. I'm going to read to you guys what I found. Okay. And it says that being nice is doing something pleasing or agreeable to be a nice person, or to get others to like you, or just have like a perception of you, right? And being kind is doing something helpful to others, acting in their best interest, and out of love, empathy, and compassion. Not because you want them to like you, not because you don't want them to think you are not nice, not because you don't want them to think you are not well trained, not because of any of that, but genuinely out of love and out of their best interest. For example, maybe you're somewhere and then they're making jokes and saying nasty things about Christians. This one is actually very common, okay? They're saying nasty things about Christians and how, oh, your pastors are always using your tithes to buy jets. People are foolish. You're like a sheep. Sheep are foolish. People are just foolish. You're just there following pastors that are just lying to you, brainwashing you, and you are in that kind of gathering. And those are people that maybe are your friends, even, or at least happen to be in your circle at the moment. The nice thing to do as a Christian, if you want to be nice, is to just And if you're very uncomfortable, you will not leave. You won't even want them to know that. You won't even want them to know that you're leaving because of what they said. You'll just say, you guys, I want to go and use the toilet, so that you will leave that place. Then you now go there. When you're not in the toilet, you'll not be angry. Or you even bring out your phone and texting your friend, you'll be angry, you'll be raging. But if you're a kind person and not necessarily a nice person, you can stand up right there and say, no, actually, I don't think what you're saying is true. And I think this is offensive because I'm a Christian and I'm right here and you're saying that Christians are foolish. I don't think that's a nice thing to say. I don't think that's a kind thing to say. I don't think that's okay. So I really respect it if you respect my faith, and I'll respect you as well. That conversation will be uncomfortable. It's not be the sweetest. But guess what? It doesn't mean you're not a kind person. Okay, you have created a boundary, and guess what? The next time those people are around you, even if the joke is here and they want to, they'll just remember that the last time this girl said she did not like this thing, and so they will not do it. So when I started to learn boundaries in 2020, that's when I started to tell my friends, oh, I really don't like it when people use swear words around me. I'm trying to stop cussing out, and I really appreciate it if you don't use those words around me. And they started to respect that. I don't think I ever lost any friend because of that. They just understood that when I'm texting during, I don't use certain words. That's when people call me certain things, I'll be like, no, don't call me that. I am not that. I started to stand up to certain things and started creating certain boundaries. Even when it comes to like responsibility, I had to start learning how to say no, how to say, oh, let me think about it first. Oh, let me see if I can handle this. It's important. It's important. And it will be very, very uncomfortable at first, but trust me, you will be better for it. Your relationships will be better. You can't live your life trying to please people and trying to make sure they are okay. The one person you should live for is God. So please God first, and then you think about yourself. Like, how this thing I'm doing, am I betraying myself in the process? Am I damaging my own self in the process? Okay, I remember the first time my friend wanted to come see me, and that day I really, really, really wanted alone time. Like, I really didn't want to be with anyone. I just wanted to be by myself and just like talk to myself and think. The people pleaser in me would have been complaining, murmuring, and would still type yes. She will know that she doesn't need people right now. She wants alone time. She needs alone time to feed her own soul and to be okay, and she needs to rest. But because she doesn't know how to say no, and she doesn't want her friend to think that she doesn't want to see her and everything, she will not say yes. And she will be resentful. She will not even like when the friend is around, you just be like, I can't wait for this girl to go. Okay. But that day I was like, you know what, babe, I actually really want to be alone right now. Like, I'm in the middle of something. Can you come later? Like, can you come tomorrow, or I'll text you when it's okay for you to come? And she was like, oh, okay, no, wala, no problem. And nothing happened. We didn't fight. There was no awkward situation. She respected that. Okay. And the good thing is, because I have done that, another day when she needs alone time, she can tell me and she knows I won't be offended, because if I can create boundaries, she can create boundaries too. So I had to start learning how to stop being obsessed with people's perception of me and what they think of me and whether they think I'm nice or not. It's really not about that. It's who God thinks I am first. What I'm doing, how does it reflect who Jesus is, the nature of Christ that I have. So does it please God? So I had to start learning to stop molding myself into people's expectations of me and stop being so scared of displeasing people. If you always try to avoid conflict, you become a people pleaser. You will never, nobody will ever know what you like and what you don't like, because you never stand up for anything, and everything will go in your life. And like I said, people will take advantage of you, consciously or not. But when you have curated your life in such a way that anything goes, you become a garbage can. You're friends with everyone, everything goes. Anybody can just come. Can you help me this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. They can come and tell you this. They know you're not going to complain. They know you're not going to say no. They know you're not going to stand up to them. Every joke counts. Every joke can fly with you. Everything goes. You can't be that kind of person. And just learning from Jesus, right? Jesus was not a people pleaser. And Jesus had the greatest responsibility any man has ever had. Okay. It was meant to show us what God was like, or what God is like. Okay. And if Jesus was so bothered about what people think, and agreeing with people, not wanting people to be sad and everything, not wanting people to think he's not reliable, not wanting people to think he's not nice, bruh, he wouldn't have done anything. Jesus had to stand up to Pharisees. Jesus had very uncomfortable conversations. Certain times he had to confront people, okay? And if he was only caring about what people felt and what people's perception of him is, he would never have accomplished his purpose. He would never have brought truth to the world. Okay, he had to stand up for Pharisees. There are certain times you tell his disciples, I'm going to pray. You would leave them and go alone. If he was so bothered about what people will think, he won't be doing all those things. All right. So yeah, guys, that's it. I started this journey 2 years ago, and to be honest, I'm still on the journey because every once in a while you want to please people. There's that urge to conform to what people expect of you and to avoid conflict. And I always have to remind myself that no, I have to set boundaries. I have to say no. I have to say, oh no, I don't like that. No, I don't do that. No, you can't say that to me. No, I'd rather you don't call me that. Do you understand? Just set firm boundaries and stick by them. So yeah, I hope this video helped you. Leave a comment below if it resonated with you, or if you have any questions or anything you think we can learn from. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.